Hey Josh, it's Monday, and this video is probably going to be answering your question from last week. So, your question from last week was what are my thoughts on the future with this past election? And that's like you said, that is a loaded question. And kind of in a weird area where. I mean, I think I mentioned it in a past video. Biden wasn't my first choice, and like you said, he wasn't my 15th choice. But he was my choice over Trump. So it is very interesting though, because th- this entire this past 4 years has been such a politically divided, um, just politically divided presidency in general, where it's basically been the pinnacle, well, not quite the pinnacle yet, but it could very well become that, of I'm right, you're wrong, you're the bad guy. And then the other side saying, no, I'm right, you're wrong, you're the bad guy. So this past 4 years has just been, honestly, it's been crazy, just with everything going on. I mean, it seems like every year there's a new apocalypse going on. This year alone, it's been every month, basically, there's been a new apocalypse. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's hard to really put into words how divided the nation has been. Other than just look outside your window, like we're on the eve of Civil War Part Two, which I'm still concerned about. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but it could very well if there's no peaceful transition of power. And even if there is, like you said, the white supremacists and Proud Boys and all of that, those people, they could very well take up arms against the new president. In fact, I have a few people that I know that are about ready to take up arms, on both sides of the aisle here. So it's definitely concerning. However, my hopes for the Biden presidency is that what I'm hoping for is that he is able to bring the two parties together, sort of. At least not at the point where it's like, where, as I said earlier, I'm right, you're wrong, you're the bad guy on both sides, and vice versa on the other, so. Or not vice versa, the same thing on the other sides. But yeah, so that's my main hope. If I remember correctly from when they were sort of talking about the election and such after Biden had basically won, a lot of people were saying that he's probably going to pull on both sides of the aisle, because when he was a senator, he really did pride himself on being able to sort of mediate between the two parties. So I kind of hope that that's what happens, honestly, is that he's just able to mediate the two sides. Maybe not not far enough that they're like, yes, we're best friends now, because the two-party system is still always going to be absolute garbage. I don't know what else to say about it, and all of that, but yeah, another another big thing is that so many people are talking, or like you mentioned in your video, not everyone, but a lot of people on Trump's side are saying, oh, the election was rigged, or like, oh, it's not over yet, you could still pull through, which it's not going to happen, but yeah, the whole point, or the whole idea of people being like, oh, it was obviously a rigged election, it's just like, how is it at all? How do you get that? out of what happened happened with the election. Like you said, the they lost seats in the House, and they only gained a couple of seats in the Senate. And honestly, if the election was rigged, Mitch McConnell would not be on another term. And then also the whole idea of like there'd be a whistleblower no matter what. And then also the fact that Biden even won in states that are Republican controlled, such as Georgia, or not controlled, but have Republican mayors and are mostly Republican when it comes to the Senate and House, and he still won that, so it's like you can't blame the idea that, like, oh, the governors and mayors were helping Biden win. Like, it's just so annoying. And then everyone's talking about, specifically with Michigan, how Trump had this nice steady curve, but then Biden had like a steady curve that was low, and then it just jumped straight up, and then kept going up from there. You have to people have to remember that most states were counting mail-in ballots last, and due to the fact that Donald Trump told his supporters do not vote by mail, voting by mail is fraud, all that stuff, a lot of his supporters did not vote by mail, so it would make sense that mail-in ballots are primarily Democratic rather than Republican, which I think in past years it's been the other way around, but with this year in particular, a lot more Democrats and liberals and such, and leftists just in general, are very much paying attention to the ongoing coronavirus and all that, and it's just so many people coming up with these, like you said, these conspiracy theories. It's just sort of ridiculous that I don't understand. I really just don't understand how people can still believe them. But it's gonna be an interesting 4 years to come. I do have to agree that I kind of hope that Biden doesn't try for another 4 years, because I don't think he'd be able to win another election, and also just by the fact that he's gonna be a bit older at that point, it's definitely gonna be unlikely. I feel, in my opinion, that he'll run again. Well, I should say before I watched your video, I was just like, yeah, he's probably gonna run again because almost every president runs for a second term. But yeah, it definitely seems like he might step back, and I kind of hope that he does, to give the younger population, or the younger representatives and the such, younger Democrats, sorry, I did not get much sleep last night, but yeah, just younger Democrats, I feel, need to step up and take in these roles. And that's really my main hope for these next 4 years, is that especially in the midterm election, that I hope a lot of younger people end up going in and trying to and winning in their respective districts. So yeah, I don't really have much else to say. So I guess, Josh, my question for you is, I don't know. It's hard to really think of a good topic, because this entire video was just me answering your question from last week, so I guess there won't be a question this week. Been a while since that's happened, so I guess that'll do it for this video. So Josh, I will see you on Thursday. Later, bro.